Hey.
Welcome to the 8 in the Box podcast, where we talk football, specifically college football. Every single week, we look at 8 games. We're doing a new thing with a little total, so we're gonna just get right to it. It's me, Dave Sharapan at SportsBK Consig, along with my quarterback, Brad Howe at Brad Howe 07, that's 07. And we're just going to get right to it. Brad, how are you, sir? You ready to go?
I'm well, thank you. It's great to see you. Glad to be here. We've got another good slate of games. And yeah, we are, if you go in and look at pace of play charts, if you like tempo, we're at the upper end of that. We're tempo. We go.
Oh,
there's no slow it down. We're not running clock here. We're boom, boom, boom. Get the ball out of our hands into the hands of playmakers. Let's go.
That's it. We got Dan Alexander at Newbie Talks producing the show today, as always, making sure we're listening, to each other. We're on video. We're going to be out on YouTube. All kinds of things happen. You can find Brad, the host of the Game Within the Game. Him and I do a show together on Mondays. He does a show with Julian Edlow on Thursdays. Also does work every day. I am trying to do work every day as well between MLB Network, Cash Considerations Podcast, Sports Grid, and SiriusXM. And I think that's it, Brad. That's all we got time for. We just got to get to the football. So, I mean, they're in order. They're in Brad Howe's order, and we'll get to that in a second. But lead us off. Take us where you want to go. Let's get to some football right now on 8 in the Box.
Let's roll. First on, I'm excited to watch this one. Let's go Cincinnati at Indiana. We've got.
Are you really excited? Are you really excited to watch this one?
Well, yeah, for 2 reasons. Number one,
all right,
I follow the Big 12 closely. Cincinnati, as some say in the region, Cincinnati is a big one here. They're joining the Big 12. They're coming in. And listen, they've got it rolling here. This is the start of a big month for the Bearcats. If they want to try and make the college football playoff, they're positioned in the polls early to do that. But they've got some big games coming up, and it starts with Indiana on the road. Here we go. I'm trying to serve one up for you. It's a road home, or it's a home dog right off the bat. I don't even need to give you analysis. I know what you like. I know where you're going. I'm still going to give you analysis here because this is what I want to know. Michael Penix Jr., one of the most dynamic quarterbacks in the country. He's coming back off the injury last year. Struggled in the opener against a very good Iowa defense. 2 pick sixes for the Hawkeye defense in that one. Cincinnati's got a pretty good defense, Dave. This is no joke here. They're rolling in with a good defense against a struggling Indiana offense, but Indiana's going to give a good defense on the other side as well, going against Desmond Ridder at quarterback for Cincinnati. He's been very good. Where are we? Cincinnati, Indiana.
Such a tough game. You kick this one off with a tough game. I mean, it feels like everybody kind of wants to play Cincinnati, and I don't think they're wrong, to be perfectly honest. I love the home dogs as much as anybody, even probably more so than a lot of people, but I cannot make a case. There's no shame in losing to Iowa the way they did. I mean, Iowa just went and beat up Iowa State in Iowa State. So I don't know as much. I don't know the health of Penix. I mean, and I don't think anybody does. He struggled, yes, and it didn't look great even again. So my first thought is like this number's 4, painted 4 across the board. I don't know how much higher it's going to go, but I think it's going up. We're recording this on Wednesday, which we do ideally every week. We're going to try to get this out on Wednesday, so you hear it late Wednesday night, early Thursday. I'm telling you, I like Cincinnati as of right now. Cincinnati is, like you said, they got their work cut out for them to make a real big splash overall nationally.
So I mentioned that tough stretch that's coming up for Cincinnati. They've got the game this weekend against Indiana, then Notre Dame, Temple, and UCF over the next 4 weeks. If Cincinnati's going to make a playoff push, it's going to happen here in the next month.
Is this a look ahead spot, B. How? Is like, do you look at that like with Notre Dame on deck? Does that factor into your handicap?
Some teams it might. I don't think so with Cincinnati. I mean, they knew what they had to do last year, got into one of the big bowls. That was a good game against Georgia last year.
Yeah.
I don't think this Cincinnati team nor program looks ahead in this situation. I think they're ready to go. Real quick, and then we're going to get on to the next game. Any interest in the under at this point? It
Yes.
opened at 46. It's moved up to 50. Are we at a point maybe where you come back on the under at 50, 50 and a half here?
Absolutely. I that's what I was looking at, the way this game is likely to play out. I'm surprised at the initial move up, but this may be one of those. The odds makers knew it's going to be an under game, set the total maybe a little bit low to get the money over right away, and still probably have the total around 45, 46, and they're okay with taking these bets over. So, yes, absolutely like the under there.
Okay, let's move on to the next one. Another fun regional matchup that unfortunately has gone away due to conference realignment. Let's talk Virginia Tech coming to West Virginia. This is going to be bonkers in Morgantown, West Virginia when these teams come in. Here's my nugget for you. It's the Black Diamond Trophy that is on the line. The
What?
Black Diamond Trophy. Now, here's
I
the
didn't know
interesting thing.
this.
Yeah, that's why I'm here for you. I'm giving you nuggets. Black Diamond Trophy. Tech has held this since winning in 2004. Now, the teams haven't played consecutively, but the last time West Virginia won was back in 2003. They want to get the trophy back in their hands. Here's some numbers on this rivalry real quick. From 73 to 2005, the teams played every year. 1973 to 2005. Before that, from 52 to 68, they played every year. It goes all the way back to 1915 when this game started. Obviously, one in the Big 12 in West Virginia, one in the ACC for now in Virginia Tech. So, unfortunately, this game has gone away. All right, now let's get onto the field because I think this is interesting. Some people questioning this line. I gave you this last week with the, does Vegas put fishy lines out there? You spent 20 years in the book. Are you putting fishy lines? Do we lean into the stinky fish on this? West Virginia opens as a 3-point favorite. It's hovering in that area, 2.5 to 3. A lot of people thought Virginia Tech would be favored. Big opening win against North Carolina. They came back. They handled their business against Middle in the second game. West Virginia opens on the road against Maryland in a coin flip game, turns it over 4 times, takes the loss, came back last week against LIU, Long Island University. Doesn't even matter. It was a scrimmage blowout. 3-point favorite for the Mountaineers. Big home advantage, big home field advantage. We got to factor it. Virginia Tech, West Virginia. What say you?
This feels like one of those numbers that you just know sitting in the book, and as you watch and continue to type and watch them come in on the app. Virginia Tech money line, Virginia Tech money line, Virginia. I don't even need the 2.5 points. Why would I take that? I'm just going to take the plus. I swear Virginia Tech has looked so good. And that opening in the, in Virginia Tech in Blacksburg, amazing with that Enter the Sandman. And now I know this thing is the Black Diamond Trophy. Like, who, as far as trophies, is that a cool looking trophy? Have you seen this thing?
Not only have I seen it, I've held it. I've carried the Black Diamond Trophy from my days in the athletic department at WVU. I've stood on the sidelines holding it. It's you got to do some lifting before you hold it. It's heavy now.
Can we get B-roll or a picture maybe for the Twitter feed, at Brett Hollow 7 of you holding this thing for this week? That's awesome. So now knowing all of that and knowing that West Virginia had a tune-up last week, I mean, every probably show in the world, look in the world, better in the world is going to want to take Virginia Tech. I'm already sitting here going, now after this, I want to see you on the side. Can you get on the sideline and hold up the Black Diamond Trophy if they get this thing done again? I'm on West Virginia. I think West Virginia is the side.
I'm interested in this one, and I'm going to get to another one later where I think this matters. I think we have to start including the home fields back in the handicaps this year because I don't know that we needed to last year. You mentioned Virginia Tech and the Enter Sandman on the first Friday of college football. That was nuts, and that place is nuts. I've been in that press box at Virginia Tech when the thing's moving on you. It's one of the best environments in the country. There's no doubt that mattered against North Carolina. I wonder how much that factors in. Now, this is a noon kick, so it might not be the same as a night game, but it matters. Here's another one. Let's end with this on this game. Over-under number, the total sitting about 50.5, and it hasn't moved. It's kind of been right at that 50.5. These are two offenses trying to find their way. They're both struggling. They're almost mirror images of each other. Neither can push the ball downfield. Both can run it okay, although there's questions about West Virginia's. The quarterbacks at both are looking to find their rhythm. Both teams are maybe mixing in a second quarterback at times, and the defenses for both Tech and West Virginia have been pretty good. 50.5. Any interest in the under in this one?
It's just surprising. First two games out of the gate, you're making a case for the under, and I like what you're saying. I hear what you're putting down. This sounds like an under game for sure. What is your assessment quick about their big play capability? Because I didn't see it yet in West Virginia, and Virginia Tech had a couple short fields because they were so good defensively against North Carolina and scored.
Yeah,
Are there going to be big plays in this game?
I mean, you haven't seen evidence from either that's there. Again,
Okay.
that doesn't know it's not going to happen, but you haven't seen evidence of that. I mean, remember, Virginia Tech had a stretch in that North Carolina game after they got some points early. They went 28 plays for 90 yards. West Virginia bogged down against Maryland, a team that couldn't stop anybody on the ground last year. So that's why this, to me, I'd like that to tick up a couple of points and then come back on the under, but it feels under to me as we sit here midweek on this.
If this game starts slow, you're going to see this in-game total go down fast. Yeah. So if you're waiting, I mean, get it at the peak, ideally pregame, because we get a couple 3-and-outs and a couple punts and things happen, and we've got a slow first quarter, no score in the first 6.5 minutes, first 10 minutes. This thing's going to go from 50 or 50.5, say it closes that right now, to 43 very quickly. And then it starts to get hairy when you get around them low 40 numbers, you know, a blocked punt, a turnover, short field, and that game can go back over.
It's a good point on special teams. We know from the Frank Beamer time at Virginia Tech, that's always something we talked about. How about West Virginia's kick returner, Winston Wright? 2 games, 2 kickoff returns for touchdowns, including starting the game last week. Give me whatever number you want to make, the number of kickoff returns Winston Wright has, give me the under. If I'm Tech, I don't kick it anywhere near this kid. So that might not, some of West Virginia's scoring has been helped by good field position and special teams on the kick return. So watch that this week as well. All right, keep moving. I'm going to stay in the Big 12. This is another fascinating one. I'm serving it up. It's a tee. You like baseball, you like softball. I'm putting it right on the tee. Not even soft toss. I'm just setting the thing on the tee for you here. Let's go another home dog. Nevada coming in at K-State. K-State's the home dog at 2.5 points-ish, another 50.5 total. Nevada, we saw them beat Cal in the opening game as an underdog. Yep. Carson Strong at quarterback, Dobbs at receiver, 2 pros right there. They've been very good offensively. Strong, close to 700 yards passing in just 2 games. The story in this one with Kansas State, though, Skylar Thompson, their 6th-year quarterback. He started for what feels like 12, not 6. Right, exactly. He went out again with another knee injury. This poor kid missed most of last year with a knee injury. He can't get on the field. Will Howard struggled last year coming in as a true freshman, struggled last week. I don't know that K-State can throw the football, so they're going to rely even more heavily on Deuce Vaughn, the talented running back. Nevada, K-State, you're getting K-State at home as a dog.
Tricky. This is a tricky one because I haven't physically seen any plays from K-State. I have not watched one single play. And now with the quarterback out, you know how these things go. Like, is that guy ready for this stage? 1. 2, has he been getting any reps? Like throwing a kid in and getting the reps now. I mean, K-State's 2-0. This is legitimate. Like they win this game and they go into Big 10 play or Big 12 play undefeated. I mean, it's been a while for them to do that. So it's a big game. The line is telling me if this was on in Nevada, they're 8.5 point favorites, something like that. I mean, 7. I don't know. My first thing sometimes is I don't know. I got to do a little more work on this. Are you feeling a side here in this one?
Yeah, I am, and I'm it's worrying me a little bit because you always yell at me when I want to take road favorites, but this feels Nevada to me. Again, Will Howard played the whole back half of last year, so it's not a total inexperienced quarterback, but man, he really struggled. He's a young guy. They need some weapons at receiver to help him. If Nevada can stop the run, which is a big if on Nevada, I get it. If they can stop Deuce Vaughn and make them one-dimensional and make Will Howard beat you at quarterback, I think that's one of those. You take Nevada and you say, "Come beat me." But let me give you this.
Go ahead.
I know you book guys don't like it when Joe Public like me gives you trends, but let me give you this one. If you're leaning Kansas State or you like a home dog, since 2003, which I realize is a lot of Bill Snyder, 2003, 25-16 against the spread as a home dog is
Mm.
Kansas State. Now,
Mm.
since Chris Kleiman took over in 2019, it's continued 5-2 against the number as a home dog. So
Ooh.
you not only get your home dog, this is a program that loves it. But man, I think I'm going to default to Nevada. And if Will Howard comes out and can beat me throwing it, I tip my hat and say congratulations. I think I take Nevada in this one.
I'll ask you this then. Can K-State come back if they get down? If they can play with a lead, obviously they can win a game. But if they get down, say 2 scores, 13-3 early, something like that, can they come back if they have to pass the ball?
No, I need to see it first. I have not seen evidence of that without Skylar Thompson.
Okay.
Remember, you beat Stanford in a body clock game for Stanford. They're having to come to Dallas to play in a noon kickoff, and they looked very good. Different team with Skylar Thompson. I need Will Howard to show me before I'm on Kansas State, I think. I may be dead wrong. I'm going to go Nevada in this one.
All right. You convinced me. I think I'm leaning Nevada right now. We'll see. And this body clock thing, it's 11 o'clock Pacific start. So that's midday. So it wouldn't be too bad for a West Coast team playing that time. All right. I'm with you. Nevada.
Okay. Let's move to the next game. Purdue at Notre Dame. I don't know what to make of Notre Dame here. You got 7 in the hook in this one. Notre Dame is favored by 58.5 for the total. Purdue's still trying to find its footing it had a couple of years ago under Coach Braum. What do we make of Notre Dame? The luck of the Irish has been with them for 2 weeks. They beat Florida State in a game they had control of, lost control of, took control at the end and won. Last week, I'm not even sure what was happening. They darn near lost that. Jack Cohn, the quarterback's over on the sideline, getting a finger popped in place, runs back out, throws the go-ahead touchdown to win that one late. What are we doing with Notre Dame and Purdue in this one? Are you comfortable with it more than a touchdown?
No, I'm not comfortable with anything Notre Dame's doing. And that's personal as much as it is numbers wise. I was rooting for Florida State to win that game, opening game. And then I was checking the scores last week and I was like, can this really happen? Can they lose this game? And then you see the highlights. I'm like, nope, they do have the luck of the Irish. Touchdown, Jesus, all that stuff. The game's at home. I don't know yet what to make of Purdue either. That's the hard part. So you see this number, it's 7.5. It's pretty much, it's a couple 7.5s left. It's going up to 8 in a lot of places already. And I think it's going to keep trending that way because no matter what, Notre Dame is one of the best brands in college football and people bet them. They bet them to lose as well, but it just seems like there's more people that bet them to win. I think my first thought is like anything over a touchdown, I'm looking at dog. Okay. But at some point, is it a class difference? Is Notre Dame just that much better where one of these things is going to kind of snowball and the game gets away from Purdue and Notre Dame wins by 10? Now, can Notre Dame win by 21 and you have a cigar game? I don't really know right now. I don't think so. Can Purdue win this game? Certainly. I think they can. I mean, how many more lives does Notre Dame have left? We'll find out on Saturday. How about the total here, B-How? Like, I'm looking at this going, oh, wow, 58.5 for a Notre Dame Purdue game? Again, maybe it's the book guy in me, but this screams under.
See, I'd be afraid of that. I'd more likely to stay. If you made me take one of those, I think I'm taking Notre Dame, even though I get it. It's one of those that you always battle. You do this a lot in basketball with teams in the NCAA tournament that are just sliding by their first couple games. Are they about to lose, or are they kind of a team of destiny and they're finding ways to win? That's how I feel about Notre Dame. Purdue comes in here off wins over Oregon State and UConn. So I don't know that we know anything about them. The total would scare me only from this standpoint. Notre Dame's given up more 60-yard big plays this season already than they did in the last 3 years combined.
Wow.
They're a very aggressive attacking defense with the new defensive coordinator, and they've been susceptible to some big plays. You know Braun's going to run gadgets. He's not afraid to pull anything out of the playbook. The total would scare me a little bit. I know why you're saying under. I wouldn't touch it given the big playability or the lack of stopping the big play from Notre Dame and Braun being able to pull some new things out for Purdue out of the playbook. I don't want the total in this one.
See, this is why we talk every week. That's actually really good. And now I'm off the total. I don't want any part of that. I mean, maybe look to play that thing over, get a couple quick scores, and you get a number in the high 60s.
There you go.
And then you can kind of do that in game. But yeah, no, I don't. I think you got me off the pregame total. I love it.
That's a good call right there. The in game, as we talk a lot about, if you can get a couple big plays and scores and push that up, and then maybe Notre Dame goes to try and run it a little bit, bleed some clock. There you go. That's a good way to look at that.
Yep.
All right. Alabama, Florida. Let's head to the SEC. Big one here with some brands. 14.5 for Alabama for the Tide, 59.5 for a total. I mean, I've got numbers, I've got names, I've got stats. Do you go against who's standing up going against Saban? You ready to go against Saban? Florida working on its offensive identity. It's run the ball extremely well, not throwing it great. Anthony Richardson, dynamic at the quarterback when he's come in. They're playing two quarterback. Again, I can give you all kinds of stuff here. You fading Saban, or you just laying it with the Tide. You taking first half Tide, which has been an ATM for a few years. What do we got? Alabama, Florida.
So the game is pretty much painted. There's a rogue 15 floating around, but I'm seeing a lot of 14.5. It's even 14. It's to the point where the books have found the number to draw some interest against them, because you never get bets against them. You just don't. Am I ready to do it? No, it doesn't feel good. I don't want to do it. Not yet. I may lay off the game, but the first half, you're right, has been an automatic ATM. And if the game's 14, the first half's going to be 7, or maybe the tax will make it 7.5. Some books might say, you know what, just make it 8. Like, just because you're not going to get a bet on Florida anyway, except from the bad guys, and the bad guys lose as well. So I think this is a tough game. I saw this on the rundown, and we got to talk SEC football as well. This is a big game for Florida. Can you see Florida winning this game in any scenario?
It's hard to envision. I say this a bunch, and especially early. I mean, you got to show me. I think you've got to show me.
Yeah.
Again, I know all the parts that Alabama replaced. I get all that. I know all of that. But you've got to show me, with a Florida offense that's not complete yet and is still evolving, you're telling me a non-complete Florida offense is going to get Alabama? I need to see that before I'm comfortable putting it down. So full disclosure, I'm already on the first half. I got 7.5. Now I'm starting to wonder, am I going to be able to get a better number than that? But I took 7.5, worried it would go even more. So I'm already on that play. This is another one. Tip my cap to Florida if they're able to do it. But I would side. My play in this would be first half Alabama until I'm shown that's not going to win for me.
So if you don't think Florida can win, which I don't either, I don't really want to take them pregame, even with those points. They're 2-0, but they're 0-2 against the number. So is this the game they're going to cover? I mean, you come out of the gates as Florida 0-3 against the spread. It's kind of surprising. Usually they cover one of the first 2 games, a big number even, and they lay it on somebody. They haven't. If you tell me they may not be complete offensively, I don't think this is the time to be going against Alabama with the point spread. So despite being a road team, being a road favorite, which, by the way, did you pick all road favorites for the rundown today? I mean, it feels like you got all road favorites.
Just for you.
Just what you do. No, Alabama first half is definitely a play. And I think I would side Alabama right now. If this thing gets below 14, you're going to see mountains of money coming in on Alabama.
Alabama hasn't given up a rushing touchdown in 10 quarters, and Florida's going to want to run it here. Again, show me, and I'll.
Would you bet yes or no that they score a rushing touchdown this week?
Actually, yes. I think they get one.
Oh.
I think Florida finds a way to get one.
Okay. All right.
So give me that.
I'll give you plus money on that too.
All right, good. Oh, I'll definitely take it then. Thank you. All right, good. All right, the game we've been waiting for. Clear the decks. I don't know that we'll get to another game. If this is on video and you're watching, you've got the full uniform on.
I do.
Mascot uniform is sitting somewhere behind you. I'm surprised the hat's not on, a la Lee Corso. Let's go. Auburn, Penn State. Let me just give you a little bit. I'm going to let you open up on Penn State. That's your area of expertise. You're watching them. Auburn comes in here, new head coach, as we know. They're leading the country in opponents points per play, so defensively, opponent point per play, and points per play offensively. Best
Who did they play? Who did they play?
Hold on. Can I finish? Can I finish the opening monologue
I'm sorry. I'm excited.
Before James Franklin Jr. jumps in here and starts to give the other case? I'm just giving you the one side of it. They've been very good so far. Bo Nix, though, I will say, if you look at his home and away splits, they have been massively drastic. He hasn't been great on the road, as you would expect. And you're right. Auburn has played absolutely nobody. One metric I was looking at had him as the 130th toughest schedule out of 130 so far this year. So they haven't played. And hello, talk about good road environments. You're getting one. Night game, wide out, game day there, Penn State. This is a classic test of, all right, competition steps up, road environment really steps up. Are we laying 6 with Penn State in this one?
Know what I'm doing? Are you crazy? We're 8 in the box. I'm gonna come in and say take Auburn. Are you nuts? No, seriously though, I'm a little nervous. The number is fantastic because SEC teams out of conference are money. I mean, like last week, Vanderbilt went to Colorado State and they were 6.5 point dog. It's just that they're just playing a different game in that league. And then they go on a road and play teams that just can't match their level of athleticism, offense, defense, whatever. But at wideouts, oh my goodness. I mean, people are lubed up. It starts on Friday, and you got all day Saturday to go in your white and go, drown out the noise. There's a little corner of that 110,000 people. There's a little corner they give the visitors. You'll see probably some orange and blue in that corner. And that's the only people in the whole joint rooting for Auburn. So it is a true, chills road test for the road team. Penn State's defense is really good. Really, really good. They got playmakers. They got people to cover. They got pressure. I'm telling you, I can't believe it again. I like the under. I mean, it's 53, a Penn State game, night game in against an SEC team even. I'm saying under. So when I say under, I'm leaning dog. But I'm wearing a Penn State shirt. I got this specially, my 45th birthday. It's number 45. I don't have a clue who ever wore number 45, but I'm wearing it right now. Penn State's winning. I don't know if they're covered. Ooh. If they lose, I'm going to be crushed, but I won't be surprised. I think this is going to be a gigantic game, fun to watch. I hope Penn State wins. That's all I got for you.
So you would go under as your favorite play in this game. If I gave you the money to play, you would take it on the under. Now, so this is another one I'm assuming you would say, if you don't love the number, but you like Penn State, if you would like Bo Nix or Jaquez Hunter to get loose, or my guy Tank Bigsby to take off in a big run, score early, drop that number even a couple points, and then you're hitting Penn State, you do that?
I will be watching this game play by play like I did the Penn State-Wisconsin game, and I will have the in-game ready to play whatever is required. I will know relatively early whether Penn State is going to be able to score if they get down, because if they cannot run the ball, they're going to be in a bit of trouble. There's no question. They have what I think they have a great set of skill guys. I'm just not sure about the quarterback. I mean, just to be perfectly honest, there's a lot of still questions about him with the alumni, with all my buddies, everybody that's still around the program. Is he the guy? Is he going to make the plays when we need him to make them? He looks like he will, and he makes some plays on his feet that are just excellent, diving for first downs and scrambling. I just don't know. As long as they protect him, we'll be okay. But if they don't, I'll be looking to probably play Auburn in game if Penn State gets up. I think you'll find a way to have a nice middle on whichever position you want. So if you like Auburn, you'll be able to take them and then take Penn State plus points and just have it fall in the middle. Or you'll be able to grab Penn State at a short number and then look hopefully to grab Auburn at a higher number.
Okay, let's head out west for this one. We got Arizona State and BYU. Continuing our theme, we've got another home dog for you here in BYU. This is fascinating from this standpoint to me. BYU, I think, going for the Pac-12 title. They're 2-0. They've beaten 2 Pac-12 teams, and they get another one. So I think they're instantly in the championship game if they win this. Not sure. Check the bylaws on that to see if I'm right, but I think that's how that works.
Wait, are they going to a conference? Aren't they going to the Big 12?
They are. Well, they can't join the Pac-12 because they beat everybody out there. So they
I
can't
guess
get in
so.
that league.
See,
right?
Yeah. You're right. You
Okay.
can't let the kid in and not let them, take everybody out. Yeah, for sure.
Now this is one of those try and get in the brains of 18 to 22-year-old kids, which is always dangerous. So let's go ahead and try and do it on this one. Is this a flat spot for BYU? I mean, if I look it up in the dictionary or on Google now for the kids, if I look it up on Google, I think it's defined as this BYU exactly. Off a 9-game losing streak to in-state rival, the Holy War, Utah. They finally got that win. This defines flat spot. But Arizona State comes in. They've got their own circus going on. NCAA sneaking around. What did you do during COVID? You were bringing recruits in. They've got a couple coaches out. What's happening with Arizona State here? So we don't know. We don't know. Arizona State's beaten Southern Utah and UNLV, so I don't know that we know a lot about them on the field.
We don't know anything about them. That's saying it politely. Those are two really they have football uniforms and they are a team, but they're not really, come on.
I know competition, and I know we've got to look into that. But BYU's run defense, Utah carved them up for almost 8 yards per carry.
Yes, they did.
Week. They can't. They haven't shown they can stop anybody on the ground. So what are you doing here? Is this a home dog you finally like, or you going Arizona and you're buying the flat spot?
I like BYU again. I think. It is a classic letdown spot. And you have a team coming in that has had no test. That has had no, real. They got a lot of things going on. You're right. They get the between the NCAA stuff and we haven't played anybody. Now we got to go to BYU in a night game. It's going to be crazy there. If it was crazy last week, now they won. They're playing on house money, and I think they have the horses to run with them. I'm not surprised by the line. I'll be surprised by the line movement. All right. It's painted 3.5. It feels like it's going up. So I think bettors are going to buy into the letdown spot more than BYU is for real. I don't know what to make yet of Arizona State. No idea. No, I don't think we know anything about them as far as on the field. Off the field, Herm Edwards, buttoned up, program, everything. I like the home dog right now. This will be one of those fun games that'll culminate, towards the end of the night. I can't wait to watch it. I don't know how it's even going to play out. They put the number up at 50, 51. That's the number when you put up when you don't know, or you don't, kind of want to let bettors determine it. Haven't seen any movement on it yet. Do you think this one shades to the over, to the under, the way it plays out?
That's a good question. That BYU rush defense I just mentioned leads me to some points there for Arizona State. Hall was tremendous at quarterback for BYU. Yeah. He had expected points added, positive EPA in 3 of the 4 quarters on Saturday. He was the only guy on either side of the ball or either team that could say that. He threw for 149 and 3 touchdowns, ran for another 92. So he's got a little something to him. I'll give you a couple more numbers. I know you're not a big trend guy, but just to put these out there on the record. Arizona State 4-0 ATS in its last 4 road games, but just 3-11 ATS as a favorite. So it has not done well in this role. BYU 7-0 ATS in its last 7 against teams with a winning record, but be careful. A lot of those were Zach Wilson last year, so I don't know how much that translates over. So so this is one of those. Let me recap if I'm reading you right. You feel you could see either side. You see both. If you're in this situation, you default to taking the home dog and the points and saying it's a momentum ride for BYU, not a letdown.
Absolutely. Yes, that's exactly that. That's the way I'm seeing it. And again, I think we'll know very quickly if they get out and Arizona State, matriculates the ball right down the field, running it. And they get that seed of doubt. And then, Arizona State does it again. Boy, we might be in trouble. But yeah, initially Give me the momentum of the win, of the home crowd, and the home dog with the points, BYU.
Okay. I don't like being opposite of you, but full disclosure, I have played Arizona State -2.5 already.
How'd that work out last week for the NC State at Mississippi State game? How'd that one work out?
Not well. Didn't go well. Would you like to ask me how the Pit worked out for me last week, though?
That one didn't work out well for me. That's why we got to talk about this stuff. Absolutely. I thought Tennessee was going to challenge them. They couldn't stop them either. Pitt may win the national title at this point. My goodness.
All right. That's our 7 games now to get to 8 in the box. Let's do it. Highest total of the week.
There he is. Newbie talks with a little drop. I love it. Oh my goodness. What total do you have on the board today?
Here's what we have. First, before I give you this week's, let's talk about last week's. Oh. North Texas and SMU went into that at 73.5, big points, high scoring, fast pace on both teams. 7-6 at the half. 7-6 at the half. You were feeling good. Finishes 35-12, well under the number. So highest total last week out of the gate. Mark that down. Newbie is producing this. Mark it down. The under 1-0 so far on the season for highest total of the week. I love the sound effects. All right, this week, get ready. We're getting right back on it. Here we go. Tulane, as some say, Tulane, Ole Miss. Give me 76 as a total for this one for the Green Wave and the Lane Train at Ole Miss. You've got 2 fast teams running a lot of plays. Tulane 16th in the country in plays per game. Ole Miss at 35th. Matt Corral, the Ole Miss quarterback, has been lights out. D'Antonio Drummond, wide receiver for Ole Miss, has been fantastic early. Over, under this 76, Tulane, Ole Miss.
Oh, my goodness. I love the Tulane uniforms. You know that? I mean, they're sharp. Oh, they are
the
so
angry,
nice.
The angry wave on the helmet, very good.
It's so good. Now, wasn't Tulane the first game out of the gate was against Oklahoma, right? And they had to play that game on the road. It was supposed to be a home game, and they switched it and played there. What did Tulane do last week? Do we know? I don't know what they did last week. They scored a bunch of points. I believe they won. Either way, actually, you know what? Wait, I think I have it right here.
Tulane 69-20. Tulane, Morgan State.
Oh, Morgan State. Thank you, producer Dan Newbert at Newbie Talks, chiming in. Perfect timing right there. All right, so Tulane can score. We're going to go to Ole Miss and score. They went to Oklahoma and scored. They were home.
And Oklahoma, listen, the storyline for Oklahoma all offseason is how great that defense is. They finally got the defense fixed. They're going to get after you, Oklahoma, that is. Defense. Got up big, and then Tulane came storming back. So some of that was built in. But let me give you a couple trends before you give your answer. The over is 5-0-1 in the last 6 Tulane non-conference games.
Jeez.
But the under is 7-0 in their last 7 games against an SEC opponent.
Oh, my.
The over is 5-1 in the last 6 Ole Miss September games.
Okay.
And 19-9 to the over in the last, 28 games as a favorite. That predates Kiffin a little bit too, so take that for what it's worth. Ole Miss's totals in the first 2 games have been high. They've been in the 70s, and they've come under in each of its first 2. This is 76.
So to get the over in a game that's 76, not only do you need a clean ride, to use a horse racing term, you need a dance partner. I mean, you got to have somebody else that can score. Looks like Tulane can. I'm going to say over. Right now. I am. I'm going to say over. We might get 100 in this thing, the way it's going. I don't know. Am I off? By the way, that Oklahoma nonsense about having a good defense, that's that Big 12 propaganda. You're very familiar with that. I mean, you put these stories out like, hey, we're going to have a good defense this year. They ain't going to have a good defense. They're just trying to outscore everybody. Big 12 football. But I mean, this is Tulane against the SEC team. Over or under? What are you thinking?
Yeah.
As he leans back in his chair.
I want no part of stepping in front of Saban. You think I know they're 2-0 to the under. Do I want to step in front of a Lane Kiffin under? I I don't like that, but 76, man, that's just a couple stops here and there, a turnover. I'm not playing. I'm not touching it. Not playing.
We finally found a number that you don't want to go over. I don't believe it.
I'm staying away. I don't want it. I don't want it.
All right. Well, we're obviously going to have to keep track of that now. And that one is a late start as well. I won't be watching any of it except at halftime of the Penn State Auburn game. But we obviously now have 76 points. That game could last. What's the over-under time on that game? 4.5 hours? I mean, that one may last 4 hours and 12 minutes. 4 hours, 12 minutes. You going over or under?
Under, but barely.
Barely. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be a sweat. All right, that's it for us. He's Brad Howe. You can find him on Twitter at BradHowe07. I am Dave Sheridan. You can find me on Twitter at SportsBKConsig. The show is 8 in the box, and every single week we talk football, specifically college football. We are out. We'll see you guys. Talk to you guys next week. Thank you for listening. Follow the show, rate, review, and we are out.